Austerity is the talk of the town here in Ottawa as the federal government hunkers down to craft its budget, or has already done. But while most MPs are preparing for deep spending cuts, others are coming up with creative new tax ideas. One idea being floated by a couple dozen MPs is to give business people or business owners a tax break on golf green fees. This probably has some appeal for golfers, but will it be embraced by Canadian taxpayers in a time of fiscal restraint? And joining me now is NDP MP Peter Stoffer. Good to see you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, the finance minister has already said, no, this isn't going to happen. So explain why it's a good idea.
Well, I haven't heard that the finance minister hasn't said it wasn't going to happen because this doesn't cost the government any money. Right now, if businesses wish to entertain their clients, they have the opportunity to take them to a hockey game, to a basketball game, to a football game. They can claim the deduction of 50% of that entertainment expense. And if they take them to a golf course restaurant and have, say, beverages and a meal, they can claim that as a deduction. But if they take their clients on a golf course for green fees and, say, a cart, they cannot claim that as a deduction. And that's been around since 1971. And what we're asking for is that golf be included with the other professional deductions, where businesses can then have an option, if they wish, to take their clients to golfing, for example.
But if you open that up, more companies may take advantage of that, and that's more tax deductions for them to take advantage of. So it does cost something.
Well, what I would say then in that regard is that if more people are golfing, that means more money is being spent on a golf course, more tax revenue generated by the government, more job opportunities for people who will be working there, because as you know, golf has over 6 million people participating in activity now. It generates close to $29 billion in activity throughout this country. It's one of the best sports around. It raises millions of dollars in charities.
But you're with the NDP, and all week you guys have been battling for pensions and no cuts to old age security. You also don't want cuts to the public sector. And then, but today you're going to come to me and say that that golf fees or golf access to the greens should be tax deductible. Isn't there a bit of a perception issue, an optics issue, when we're trying to save core social programs and you're lobbying for this?
Okay. I just want to be very, very clear. Yeah. This is not a tax break for golfers or their membership or their green fees. For
businesses.
This is a tax break for businesses who wish to enter client and take their golf, and gives them another option of a place to go.
Okay.
If you really want to save money in this government, we have many ways to do it. You can eliminate the Senate. There's $100 million there. You can do an awful lot of things that the government is doing now to reverse some of their big international corporate tax cuts that they're giving to Caterpillar, for example, and everything else.
You don't see any contradiction between what you're saying in the House and now what you're saying to me about golf?
Of course not. Absolutely not, because golf is a wonderful activity. It's a great thing for people to do. If businesses already can claim a skybox deduction, a deduction at a professional basketball game for entertainment purposes, why not allow them to do it at golf? And don't forget, golf was excluded in 1971 with two other activities, yachting and hunting lodges, and golf. But the price of golf now is $2.25 a hole. There's less than $40, for example,
okay,
for a round of golf.
What about people who don't golf, people that want to go, as I said to you earlier, what if I want to go get a pedicure with a business partner and be able to write that off? What, you're going to start lobbying for that? I mean, it could get out of control pretty quickly.
No, what we're talking about is allowing golf, which is a major economic generator in this country. And don't forget, I have 7 golf courses in my riding. It employs
well, is that what this is really about, Peter?
No, of course not. No. The fact is, I love golf, but I'm also a soccer fan as well. If I took my business, if I was a business person and took them to the professional soccer games in Toronto, I can claim that as a deduction. If I took them golfing, why couldn't I claim that as a deduction? I'm not going to do both. It's either or. It is revenue neutral to the government.
Okay, let me show you what the Canadian Taxpayers Federation had to say. You can bet they're not huge fans of this idea. They wrote, these are subsidies that benefit the well-off and the wealthy more than anybody. What we should be doing is closing the loopholes rather than using the Me Too logic. We should get special interest snouts out of the trough and close loopholes so we can lower overall rates for everyone. What do you say to that? I mean, that is partly true. You're talking about well-off people taking other well-off people potentially to the golf course as sort of a bonus and then giving them away out of it.
Well, I guess I'd throw it to you this way. Our Canadian Taxpayer Federation stating that all business deductions. For example, if I was a major company and I had people come from, say, overseas, and I wanted to entertain them because they wanted to invest in Canada, are you saying then, for my entertainment, I take them for a dinner, I take them to a hockey game, for example, that I shouldn't entertain them to show them the culture and benefits of Canada and the beauty of living in our country? Are they saying that businesses should not be able to claim a bit of that as a business deduction to encourage further investment in our country? Is that what they're saying? Are they saying that all the investment that corporations and businesses do in professional sports across the country, are they saying no more tax breaks for them in any regard? That would have a huge negative effect on not only professional sports but amateur sports in this country, and it's simply not the way to go.
You've got about 22 members from all parties on this caucus. What do you say to people who say, yeah, you know, this is the cost of doing business. I have to take people out for coffee for my job, and I pay for that myself. And you have to take people out for your job, and so you should have to pay for that yourself. What do you say to that?
Well, if I'm not in business, I'm just
no,
a
but
person.
what do you say to businesses who say, well, that's how you build relations and get profits and bring in more things?
But the fact is that
why should you be allowed to write it off?
Businesses have been for many, many years allowed to write off a portion of their entertainment expenses for their clients. They've always been able to do that, and I think it's a fair deal for them in that regard, because they're spending an awful lot of money encouraging people, in many cases from other parts of the country, because that's how the world does it, to allow them some cultural entertainment and activities within Canada, to show them what we have, and hopefully cinch a business deal to create and build our economy. The fact is that we already do it for basketball, all the other professional sports. Why not allow them the opportunity to take them on a golf course?
I'm going to ask you this one last time. Do you think that right now, as we head into a budget that's going to cut anywhere between $4 and $8 billion, that this is the right time for this caucus to be pushing this idea?
Well, it's not necessarily the caucus, but I'm pushing it more on behalf of them in that regard. But this is revenue neutral. This will not cost the government any money. This isn't.
But it doesn't look good, Peter Stoffer.
If you like golf, I love golf. 6 million Canadians golf. The fact is, yes, it does. And many businesses wouldn't mind having the opportunity of saying, well, instead of a Senators hockey game that I'm taking you tonight, and by the way, many businesses will take their clients tonight to the hockey game. What if the weather is really nice and you wanted to take them to a golf game during the day? It's a wonderful activity. It's great for your health. It's wonderful for the economy. And if
do you think it's really going to happen?
Well, I got to try. I mean, I've asked the finance minister in a letter trying to promote the game of golf in this country and allow businesses another opportunity in which to encourage investment and discussion with their clients. So why not?
All right. Thanks for teeing that up.
Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. And I'll give you a mulligan later if you wish. Thank you.
Okay, up next on Power and Politics, we've got a preview of a hot debate coming up next week.